I wanted to know how good ChatGPT is at playing chess, so I set up a tournament where it plays against 30 different chessbots. And you know what? It actually did really well. That's because I used it the right way. I'm saying this because everyone on the internet has been using ChatGPT for chess absolutely wrong. Many famous chess players and streamers played chess with ChatGPT, and they said things like this.
ChatGPT tried about 10 illegal moves in a row.
This is not a legal move. I'm going to say, Bozo, you already have a knight on f6.
It's because this is just a complete nonsense game.
Yeah, it should stick to writing poems.
And it is actually really bad, but only if you use it the same way as you would for generating poems. If you consider how ChatGPT works and change your prompts for the task, which is playing chess, you will get completely different results that will surprise you. Let me explain all of this in a short example. This is how everyone starts. They open their chess app and ChatGPT, say, hey, let's play chess, and continue with having a dialogue with the bot. If I play like this, ChatGPT here loses a knight on the fourth move and starts suggesting illegal moves right after that. So what is wrong here? Well, ChatGPT as a language model was trained on a huge amount of data, right? Billions of words. Somewhere in the data it had to find transcripts of chess games where it learned something about chess. And I can guarantee you that it never encountered something like this. That's not how people record chess games. Instead, games are usually simply written down as a sequence of moves in algebraic chess notation. So first, our prompts should look more similar to what the model was trained on. Second, this long dialogue format is not optimal. Not only that ChatGPT now has to identify and connect the moves to represent the position, we are also encouraging the model to have a dialogue with us and generate these redundant comments. Here we are risking that it will act more like a dialogue bot, generating nice and coherent sentences that make sense linguistically, but make no sense for our chess position. So this is how we fix it. Instead of having this long dialogue, we treat each move separately as a unique chess position. And for each move, we query ChatGPT from scratch. We define the position by a sequence of all previous moves and tell ChatGPT, give me a move that is most likely to follow this sequence of moves. Now, I actually added a few more interesting improvements, but before I get to them, let me show you how ChatGPT plays after the changes we just made. Here, ChatGPT is playing against the chess bot called Martin. It is the weakest bot on chess.com with a rating estimated as 250. And it was previously claimed many times that ChatGPT could not beat it. But this is what happens now. It completely crushes Martin, winning in 21 moves and having a move accuracy of 90.6%. The previous example I showed you was also with Martin, and it lost sense of the game only after 4 moves. So now that you've seen the difference, let me quickly cover 2 more things I added to improve performance. First, I changed the temperature of the model. What is temperature? Temperature is a parameter that basically defines the randomness and creativity of the output. If set to 0, the output from ChatGPT is almost deterministic. We get the same output every single time. But if we use the default value, which is 0.7, the output varies and can be more interesting. Higher temperature values make sense for stories and poems, but can be problematic for predicting the best moves in chess. Maybe we want some variation in openings, but otherwise we want to play the best moves. So only for the first 4 moves, I set the temperature to 0.8 to prevent playing the same opening every single time. And after that, I set it to 0 for the rest of the game. The second improvement is about how we represent the chess position. I showed you one way where we gave the model all previous moves, but maybe we can provide more information to improve its reasoning. For example, I noticed that ChatGPT sometimes gets lost in endgames. I mean, it has to figure out the position after 40-50 moves, and that is not an easy task. So what if we also provide a list of all pieces on the board and their positions for every move? Would that help? Or ChatGPT itself often uses this representation to visualize the board. Would that work better? You can see that there are many options. So to find the best prompt, I tested 5 different representations on 40 chess puzzles that I constructed. All relatively simple puzzles like Scholars Mate or finding a fork in an endgame. And this representation performed the best. It has 2 components, the sequence of previous moves and the fan representation of the board. Fan is a standard notation to describe a position on a chessboard, and it looks like this. It gives you the placement of pieces on each rank of the board and some other information like castling rights and the number of moves played so far. If you want to read more about fan, I will leave a link to a good explanation page in the description below the video. And by the way, if you like the video, hit the subscribe button. Alright, so let's finally see how good it is at playing chess against 30 chessbots. Chess.com has a great selection of bots, including bots that represent famous chess streamers and personalities. I picked 30 of them in a way so that they cover the full spectrum of chess ratings from 250 to 3200. By the way, if you don't know what this rating means, it is basically a measurement of a player's chess skill relative to others, with adjustments made after each rated game. Here you can see the distribution of ratings for all players on chess.com. If you are completely new to chess, you start with a rating of 400. The average player has a rating of 952 here, and the world chess champion Magnus Carlsen is rated over 2800. And of course, I would prefer that ChatGPT plays against human players, but that would violate the user agreement, which bans using automated software. So in the first round, I made ChatGPT play against bots with a rating up to 1000. In this rating bracket, players have a very limited understanding of the game and make frequent blunders. ChatGPT played best of 5 with each bot, and it defeated all of them. Overall, ChatGPT played good openings and mostly took advantage of the fact that its opponents frequently blundered their pieces. But it was also able to use the material advantage and quickly end the games. It didn't struggle with illegal moves, and these were easy games for ChatGPT. So in the second round, it played against bots with a rating of up to 1500. Players in this category had a much better understanding of the game. The opponents didn't randomly blunder their queens, they played more strategically, and the games took longer to finish. But it still did really well, winning against all bots. Let me show you a few games here that got my attention. First, in the game with Nasir, who is rated 1300. It had a completely winning position, but it drew because of the threefold repetition rule. This actually happened a few more times in other games, showing that ChatGPT still lacks some higher level understanding of the game. Next, I noticed this strange behavior in a game with BoxBox, where ChatGPT blundered a queen and then kind of gave up on life and sacrificed all its pieces. And lastly, ChatGPT drew 2 games with Fundy, who is rated 1500. And in one of these games, it defended an endgame position against a pawn on an h-file, and the game took 86 moves. And this is something that I really didn't expect ChatGPT to be able to do. I thought it would just play a flawless opening due to its memorization of certain moves from the training data, but eventually lose the game as it gets more unique and complicated. And I find this outcome very impressive, that it somehow understands and reconstructs the position even after 80 moves. So these were the games with bots up to 1500 ratings. Let's see what happens with bots rated up to 2000. Players in this category usually know several openings really well and demonstrate improved positional play and endgame proficiency. In this category, ChatGPT managed to win only with Sardosh and lost all matches with bots rated 1600 and higher. Here, we had another very long game with Sardosh, where ChatGPT delivered a checkmate with a king and a queen after 108 moves. Alright, so it seems like we have the final results, right? But hold on, I noticed one thing. ChatGPT lost most matches with black pieces. In fact, after analyzing the games, it seems that ChatGPT just plays better as white in general. As white, it is also less likely to misunderstand the position and suggest illegal moves. So I made ChatGPT play again with these bots, but this time only with white pieces for all 5 games. And the results speak for themselves. This time it defeated Voyboy and Fiona and played on par with the ANDREA-BOT bot, which is rated 1801. It drew 3 times, but always because of the threefold repetition rule and in winning positions. But then its performance dropped and ChatGPT couldn't compete with bots rated 1900 and higher. When played against stronger bots with ratings over 2000, it couldn't win a single game. So in general, maybe we can put ChatGPT somewhere between 15 and 1600 rating. For white pieces only, it seems like it can go even higher to maybe even 1800. On the other hand, the rating of chessbots is known for being quite overestimated compared to human players. And I personally doubt that ChatGPT can win a single game against real ANDREA-BOT, but maybe we can use a different estimate. Chess.com gives a detailed analysis of games and provides a rating for each individual game. If I take that and average across all games I played, I get a rating of 1364, which seems more reasonable. Overall, it plays way better than I expected for a language model. Sure, other AIs like Stockfish have much higher rating, but keep in mind that ChatGPT is not a chess engine. It has no planning mechanism, there is no Monte Carlo tree search like in AlphaZero. As a language model, it is only trained to predict the next word in a sequence. And yet, it somehow knows how to checkmate with a king and a rook after 80 moves. But then again, it does it in such a weird way. Right now, it seems to me that the main performance bottleneck comes from the inability to reconstruct the position from prompts. Sometimes it gets completely lost, or it forgets a chess piece if you don't play with it for many moves. So I will be curious to see if GPT-4 is better at this. Also, once they allow prompting with images, we can also provide a visual representation of the board. I will definitely be trying this out when the API for GPT-4 is out, so subscribe for future content and thanks for watching.